Welcome students. Today I am going to talk on the lesson 2. Topic is fundamentals and operations in digital land surveying. In this lesson, first I will tell you the fundamentals of land surveying, in which we will discuss the different types of or divisions of land surveying, then the objective of land surveying which we will be adopting in this course, assumptions of the land surveying, basics of land surveying and principles of land surveying. Then I will discuss about the different operations involved in land surveying, followed by summary, glossary and review questions. Now, as I told you, the surveying is the science of measurement of the earth. Now, we all know that earth is not a plane surface, it is a curved, you can say, generally we say it is a spherical in shape, but actually the shape of the earth is termed as oblate, triaxial, ovaloid. Now, what is the significance of this term? Oblate means its two axes of the, if we see the axis of the earth, suppose this is the earth and this is one of the axis and this is another axis, these are not same, it is a bit like this, so it is oblate in shape, that means its equatorial axis is more than the polar axis is smaller than the equatorial axis. Triaxial, now if we take a sectional view along the equatorial plane, also we will not get a circle, but the this axis and this axis will be defined, so a bit less in this direction, so we call triaxial, that means 3 axes. Then ovaloid, not only this is flattened along the north south direction, also the northern hemisphere is a bit less and then southern hemisphere is a bit dilated, like an egg. So ultimately the shape of the earth is something like that. So this is called oblate, triaxial, ovaloid. So now why I am discussing this thing, because as we know, ultimately we need to have a map of the area for which we will be carrying out the surveying, and the map is on a plain paper. So we have to go for a curved surface on a plain paper. Now, if we see the dimension of the earth, if we take a very small dimension, then there will not be any difference between a plane surface and a curved surface. But if the dimension of the surveying work is much, then there will be difference between the plane surface and the curved surface. So depending upon the area to be surveyed, the type of surveying is divided into 2 types. One is called plane surveying, where the area of the to be surveyed does not differ much whether it is a curved surface or a plane surface, and another is called geodetic surveying. When the area to be surveyed is such a big extent that we cannot assume that the surface is a plane surface. So, in this course we will go for plane surveying. That means in this course we will study or we will learn how to carry out the survey on the surface of the earth which is small in extent. That means we will not have much difference whether the surface is curved or plane. Both will be whatever is the location. Suppose this is the location, if I take a small area like this, so there will not be any difference between a curved surface and a plane surface. So, now in case of plane surveying, the surface of the earth is always horizontal in nature. So, henceforth whatever surveying we will tell, we will understand that it is the plane surveying. So, we will learn in this class plane surveying, and we will call surveying means we will call it surveying. So, by surveying we will understand that we are going for plane surveying. That means our area to be surveyed is such a small extent that there is no difference between the curved surface of the earth and the plane surface of the earth. So, with this I now because this is okay for us, because most of the civil engineering projects we will see that the extent of the project is not much. Now maybe if the extent is within 200 square kilometer and any one of the dimension is 10 to 15 kilometer, then we can go for plane surveying. So, plane surveying is for whenever we will go for a survey to be an area to be surveyed is 200 square kilometer, or any one of the dimension is within 10 to 15, maximum up to 10 to 15 kilometers, then we can go for plane surveying. So, here what is written? So, geodetic surveying, the project extended to large, and whenever we will like to go for very precise or accurate project, then only we need to go for geodetic surveying, which will not be taken into consideration in this course. Now I will like to tell you about the objective of surveying. What is the objective of surveying? That means whenever we go for plane surveying, really what we want to do. The first thing we want to do is to collect the relative location of different salient points or objects present on the surface of the earth. So, this is the first and most important thing which we want to do in surveying. Once we collect the field data, that means relative location of salient points and the directions also, then we will go to prepare a plan or map of the area. So, once we get the plan or map of the area, that plan or map of the area is the representation of the actual land surface which is available as a surface of the earth. on that plane surface, on that planar map, next we will go for our analysis for the design of our civil engineering projects. Like suppose this is the area in which I have the plan or map of this area. I want to construct a road on this. So suppose this is the line along which I want to construct the road. Now in carrying out this thing, let us take one example, earthwork. That means how much of earth has to be imported to this area, or how much earth has to be taken out from this. So from our topographic map we can do all this work, as well as we can lay out our road in the map first, then we will go to the actual field and we will locate some salient points along this. Suppose these are the points whose points location we have noted down in the map, same points we will transfer it here. So now we will join in the field to get that road in the actual field. So that is what is called setting out operation. So these are the works we do during, these are the objective of surveying. Now in doing these works means to collect the field data. To collect the field data, at number 1, as I told you, collection of field data. Then suppose stacking out or setting out. All these works of surveying are done, in case of plane surveying is done assuming some thing like basic assumptions. Like in surveying, as you know, we know that the surface of the earth is curved, but in case of plane surveying, we assume that all distances are horizontal. Now if you imagine the surface of the earth, you will see, if you imagine, you can see that the surface of the earth is always some turbulences are there, it is not plane, but whenever we talk about distances, it is the horizontal distance. So that conversion we have to do, we have to think, we have to visualize during our surveying work. Number 2, now suppose from between any 2 points, as you know, the surface of the earth something like that. So if I say this point and this point, actually we are thinking of the horizontal distance between these 2 points like this. Suppose A and B are the 2 points on the surface of the earth which you are considered, but the distance between A and B we will consider as this, like this. Now you know, if I measure the distances along this line, it will be more than this. So in plane surveying we consider the distances like this. Now you know that the plumb line, if we hang a plumb bob, actually it will be perpendicular to this, tangent to this, and if I take a tangent to this, it will be taken to this. But in case of plane surveying, we do assume that this one is parallel to this. So plumb lines are parallel. This is the assumption. So because we assume that this surfaces is plane, so this should be parallel. Like if I take a plumb line at this and at this, they will be parallel, they will be parallel. So this is the assumption, second assumption. All angles are plane angle. So horizontal angle, if I measure the angle between two stations A and B from any location O, so now as you know, on the surface of the earth it cannot be plane, but we assume that in plane surface, plane surveying, this is the plane angle, this angle is plane angle. Whether it is horizontal angle or if it is a vertical angle, so it should be all alpha and theta all are plane angle. And one more thing, this is the plane angle. And another important thing is that if we want to find out the height of these points, now height means always we should, with respect to some reference datum, with respect to some reference surface, and in surveying term this is called datum. Datum means it is a reference surface with respect to which we measure the height. Now in plane surveying, to find out the height of these points, we do take not a horizontal surface, but a level surface. This is called level surface. So what is the height of the point A? If we, this is the height above, this is the plumb line, so this is the height of A, and this is the plumb line, so height B. So in case of plane surveying, whenever we go for measurement of height, it should be with respect to a level surface. So this is one of the important thing you should remember. So with these assumptions, actually all measurements will take place. So this is very important to know what are the basic assumptions. Now really what we measure in surveying or in plane surveying, we measure the, as I told you, the horizontal distance D. What is the, if we know 2 points A and B, what is the horizontal distance between them? That is what we will like to measure. What is the slope distance? Means if I join this with a horizontal line, with a inclined line, now what is the slope distance? Slope, this is the horizontal distance. Then we will like to measure the, horizontal angle between two stations with respect to one reference station, and what is the vertical angle of any station above with respect to any station. So like suppose this is a point O and this is a point, suppose this is A, O, so I may like to know what is the vertical angle we like. Now suppose if we see it in a, if we project it, this is the ground, this is our O, this is our A, suppose this is our B. So I may be So, this is the horizontal angle between A and B with reference to station O. So, we will be interested to know what is the vertical angle of A with respect to the station O, then what is the horizontal angle between A and B with respect to O, then what is the slope distance between O and A, then what is the horizontal distance between O and A. So, these are the things which really we will like to know, we will like to measure in surveying. Further, we will like to know what is the direction of the point A with respect to O. Now, to find out the direction of the line OA, actually we need to take a reference line, which is also called meridian. So, we like to know what is the angle. So, this is also we measure in plane surveying, that is a horizontal angle. Now, if the reference line is geographical north, then this angle A is called azimuth, and this provides the absolute direction. So, in short, we will like to measure the horizontal distance, the slope distance between two stations, that horizontal angle between two stations with respect to one station, then vertical angle, then your direction of a line, and azimuth. So, these are the parameters really we do measure in case of plane surveying, and from these parameters we do get the relative location of stationary points or objects of important features, and from there we convert it to mapping of the area. Now, with this background, now we will like to discuss what is the principle of surveying. That means, what principle really we do adopt for carrying out surveying. Basically, surveying is carried out adopting two basic principle of surveying. There are two basic principles. One is to work from whole to part. Actually, now we work from whole to part. The reason behind is that by adopting this principle, we can minimize the amount of error, also we can restrict the accumulation of error. So, fundamentally, to improve or to reduce the error associated with our surveying work, we do adopt the principle of working from whole to part. Now, what is that? Actually, whenever we go for surveying, first we divide the whole area into some primary geometric figures, usually it is the triangles, and we will suppose this is the area. First we will like to decide this area to be divided in such a, we will like to take the station in such a way so that the area is divided into some triangles, and this location of these triangles, vertices of these triangles, which will be termed as control point or control station, depending upon the accuracy, it will be primary control point or secondary control point, tertiary control point. We will first establish, and depending upon the whether it is primary, secondary or tertiary, we will maintain the accuracy. So within this, when these triangles are formed, within this triangle again we will go for some other station and we will go for another set of triangles. So whatever error is accumulated in this error, in this triangle, that will be divided into 3 triangles, small triangle. In that way we are reducing the amount of error or reducing the accumulation of error. So this is called working from whole to part. And Serene principle is that once we identify the location of the stations, this station should be maintained, or its location has to be maintained with reference to at least 2 permanent objects. Suppose building corner, a big tree. Now of course it is an old method of keeping this. Of course we will like to have it, but if the area is stable, stable means if there is no chance of having any deformation or variation or change of this area, we also keep this by through stacking out operation. Stacking out operation using GPS, of course you will learn it afterwards. We can also go to this station. Anyway, so the basic principle of surveying is to work from whole to part and to maintain the location from at least 2 permanent objects. Now here there are some figures which shows how to maintain the location of any station. Suppose in this figure X is the point which is the location of any control point like this. This is the, suppose this is X. Now this X location can be maintained with respect to 2 permanent objects like Y and Z. How to do it? By taking the distances from Z to X and Y to X. If we know the distances from this, suppose L1 and this is L2, the intersection of these two will be the location of the point X. So in future if we want to go to the point X, simply by making these 2 measurement and intersection of that will give us the location of X. So in that way you can see there are so many other ways how we can keep the different measurements and we can maintain the location of our control point. Once we are now the final topic of this today's second class of today's class is that what are the different operations we need to do during surveying. So there are 4 fundamental operations, surveying operations. So what are the fundamental operations we need to do for carrying out any surveying work? First we should plan. We should plan our work, that is called planning. Now for planning work we need to go for reconnaissance survey of the area, already I had told you. Once after carrying out the reconnaissance survey or sometimes we can do the planning also. Nowadays lots of Google map and other sources of tertiary sources of maps are available. From there we can go for planning. So and then we can go to the field and do further planning, and after the planning operation is over we should go for field observation. So field observation involves, like as I told you, to identify the salient objects or points, and then we should go for measurement of horizontal distance, slope distance, horizontal angle, vertical angle, reference direction, absolute direction, all those things. Once we do go for measurement, field observation has been done, we come back to our office and then we should go for office work. Now in the office we do download the data, we do process the data, we do reduce the data to arrive at some parameters which are required for our project. So once our office work is over, then we make use of that, prepare the map, we do plan our project on the map, and then we do find out some salient points of our projects, and then finally we do go back again to the field for our setting or stacking out operation. So these are the 4 fundamental steps which we do adopt for carrying out any surveying. With this, I like to conclude today's class. Before final conclusion, I like to summarize this class. There are fundamentally 2 types of surveying depending upon the area to be surveyed. In this course, we will be considering the area to be small, so we will consider that the surface of the earth is plane, and thus we will learn the plane surveying. Plane surveying means where we will assume that distances and angles, direction, all are distances, angles are plane in nature, and height is above the level surface. And while carrying out the surveying, we need to adopt 2 principles. One is to walk from whole to part. This will help us to reduce the error, and whenever we will carry out the surveying, we need to go for first planning, then we should go for field observation, after that office work we will do, and finally we can go for staking out operation. With this, I would like to conclude that glossary and review questions is for your study, and if you want to study more, you can consult these 2 books. Thank you.